Bonjour ladies and gents, it is I, Justin here. Now, I've been meaning to make this video for a while. As you know, I am a Star Wars fan. I mean, who isn't? My uncle introduced me to the original trilogy so he can hype me up for the prequels. From the moment he introduced me to it, I was hooked. Space battles, lightsabers, aliens, the whole shebang. I'm not even ashamed to admit I own multiple copies of the original trilogy, even the despecialized versions. I understood the storytelling of the films and even got into some material outside of them. And I was hyped to get that magic again when Disney bought Lucasfilm. Wow, two of my favorite things coming together? I can't wait to see The Force Awakens. And I loved it at first, all the nostalgia and etc. But as time went on, I began to look closer at the film, and it wasn't as great as I originally thought. But I wanted to see where the story went. One anthology film and another sequel later, I left The Last Jedi wondering to myself if I loved it, or the other films for that matter. I saw it again as well as the other ones, and sadly, they got worse the more I watched them. I talked to my friends about the Disney Star Wars films and even looked up what others think about them. Even those who brought up flaws I didn't notice before, Mahler, Doomcock, Rags, Geeks and Gamers, a lot of good people. My complaints with these films are their complaints, and yours too if you've been let down by them. Everyone's talked about them to death. And you can say I've become a part of the fandom menace. Those with common sense who have watched these people pretty much know how it got started. I will put a link to the origins of the fandom menace in the description below. It's done by Uche Nwaneri, pretty cool guy to listen to. Hell, I would also like to thank Ryan of RK Outpost for getting me back into the groove of the expanded universe, even though Disney decanonized the whole thing. They wasted 4 decades worth of great storytelling. Not to say all of them are great, but still. We can at least appreciate what we have before, now that Disney ruined it all. Yes, even the prequels, because they at least felt like Star Wars. Need I say more about George Lucas being betrayed by Disney for not using his sequel trilogy outline? Finally, I just want to give some brief thoughts on modern Disney. Before I made this channel, I was trying to find an identity for myself, trying to become a part of the Disney-loving crowd, the shills as they are, blindly defending and consuming the brand. Disney can do no wrong with their newer films, right? Right? Even when I made this channel, I was still struggling with finding my voice. Then I came to realize I don't need to go along with the crowd. I can just be myself and talk about my experiences and not talk about things based on what the mainstream normies have said. And I can guarantee you that a full analysis of modern Disney is coming when I bring together my friends to give Ralph Breaks the Internet a critical thrashing. Now, you may be wondering, what does that have to do with what I brought up? Well, I can tell you that this film is the absolute worst offender of everything wrong with modern Disney. The pinnacle example of it. Selling themselves out, quote-unquote updating the past, showing off the shit they own, pandering to social justice warriors, not making a lick of sense when telling their stories. This was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. It made me lose all hope of Disney moving forward. Even before I fully stopped trying to appeal to certain people, I slowly came to realize that reviewing a lot of mainstream films, even Disney's quote-unquote new material, mattered less and less, mostly because they ran out of ideas and I became more and more angry as a result. The remakes, the animated films, they just play things safe and do the same things over and over. And what else am I supposed to say? Botched messages, plot holes, generic characters with no development, holding my hand, there's no variety, creativity, originality, and innovation. And I did bring up my ultimatum on Twitter that Avengers Endgame will be the last thing from Disney I will ever see in the theater, and own it if it was really good. Why didn't I skip it? Because Marvel was never Disney's to begin with. The MCU was with Paramount at first. Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige had a huge game plan before Disney made them flirt with social justice themes and incoherent storytelling with Black Panther and Captain Marvel, the latter which I didn't see in the theater but rented it at Redbox. Those two are movies that just hate you and everything you stand for. I pretty much just said, fuck this shit, I'm out. What else am I supposed to say about this lazy and creatively bankrupt company? Even the CEO, Bob Iger, gave the impression that their projects will still be successful and make a lot of money no matter how shitty they are. Yeah, I think the Nutcracker in the Four Realms, the remake of Dumbo, and the first Star Wars movie to lose money would like to have a word with you. With that said, I don't want to give money to that idea. Telling anyone, including fans, that something wasn't made for them, that's an awful business model. Even the idea that someone can just keep making the same crap but people will still consume it and get excited for more. So I'm going for the idea that James Rolfe introduced when he talked about Ghostbusters 2016. I'm not going to see them. In his own words, if you already know you're gonna hate it, why give them your money? That's what I'm going to do with the Ruse of Soy Woker onwards. I only look up media that I feel is worth talking about, be it good, bad, they actually have some relevance, some meaning, something we can learn from and not have something forced and beaten over the head. But honestly, I feel like I've seen everything from modern Disney at this point. I'm pushing for more original and challenging material, like Joker. I don't want to support this shit like Bob Iger said, and that shills still continue to do. I don't want to go see their quote-unquote new shit anymore, because I don't think there's anything else left for me to see. Now, I'm just one person, and you have every right to do whatever you want with your money. I have a right to do so as well. This is something I'm doing of my own accord, and if you like what they're doing, that's all good. You can't help what you like, but you can at least try to balance your subjective and objective views on these things. Even people who like Disney's sequel trilogy can look at them and say they're objectively bad. You can like their shit, but don't hesitate to see the bigger picture in companies like Disney and Lucasfilm and how they operate. You have the right to demand better. You have the right to demand something new and challenging. So, I think I said what needed to be said. This is Justin, thank you all so much for watching, and au revoir.